Welcome to the Poetry Moment, featuring Robert Haas's poem, A Story About the Body. I'm Shawn Sebastian Naar. Robert Haas has a habit of speaking plainly about poetry, demystifying its mysteries. The simple title of this poem, A Story About the Body, is both straightforward and deceptive. Because while this poem is literally a story about a body, it's also a poem about surfaces, appearance, beauty, desire, and human nature. Long after readers hear or read this poem, they will remember its final image, a bowl of dead bees under a surface of rose petals. And whether that image represents the woman of the poem or the woman's opinion of the man in the poem, or mortality itself, is up to the reader. This poem is a prose poem, a single paragraph, a form that Haas used often, especially in his 1989 book, Human Wishes. Haas said in an interview on Hoko Politzo's program, The Writing Life, that many prose poems are packed full of imaginative writing and what he called zany metaphors. Poets writing prose poems are afraid they'll speak too much like normal speech, he said. But Haas wanted his poems to sound like prose, but be crafted as a poem is. Robert Pinsky, a fellow poet and author of a column called A Poet's Choice, said Haas's prose poems reveal a command of rhythm, character, and narrative economy that few can match. Haas is a professor and also a translator, particularly of haiku from the famous Japanese writer Basho, and of the work of Polish poet Czesław Miłosz, and of lyrics by artist Frida Kahlo. He also served twice as the nation's poet laureate. He's won most of the poetry prizes around, including the Pulitzer, the National Book Award, and the Wallace Stevens Award, and is also known for his essays on poetry, film, and culture. One critic wrote, Robert Haas captures both the brightness of the world and its vanishing. During his visit to Hoko Politzo, a student asked what this poem meant. Haas laughed and said, I avoided the question. Instead, he told the student that he didn't think about the meaning. He thought only about the rhythm of the phrasing. Poems are not puzzles that need solutions, but experiences like eating a good meal or listening to a piece of music. And this poem is simply and enigmatically what its title claims. And now, A Story About the Body by Robert Haas.
A Story About the Body. The young composer working that summer at an artist colony had watched her for a week. She was Japanese, a painter, almost 60, and he thought he was in love with her. He loved her work, and her work was like the way she moved her body, used her hands, looked at him directly when she made amused and considered answers to his questions. One night, walking back from a concert, they came to her door, and she turned to him and said, I think you would like to have me. I would like that too, but I must tell you that I've had a double mastectomy. And when he didn't understand, I've lost both my breasts. The radiance that he'd carried around in his belly and chest cavity, like music, withered very quickly, and he made himself look at her when he said, I'm sorry, I don't think I could. He walked back to his own cabin through the pines, and in the morning, he found a small blue bowl on the porch outside his door. It looked to be full of rose petals, but he found, when he picked it up, that the rose petals were on top. The rest of the bowl, she must have swept them from the corners of her studio, was full of dead bees.